The 5 good ideas I'm going to talk about are not rocket science. They're not new. We all know what they are. And the very first one, I believe, is good communication among the volunteer sectors. And there's a lot of benefits to that. If your regular volunteers know what's happening in your agency, understand their value within the agency and how they help you work, their morale is good. They will keep coming back. They will talk positively about you, and they will feel engaged with your organization. So as hard as it is, I would say to you, look at your communication vehicles amongst the volunteers. We have a volunteer committee. We have where they can talk about the kinds of things that we're doing. They can make suggestions. They can complain, and they do. But it's a lot of hard work for your managers. Those are your considerations. If you want to do this right, your managers have to keep communicating with them, and they have to help connect the volunteers. And it's particularly difficult when you have volunteers in a whole bunch of different sites, and we do. Because not only, like the volunteers in our member agencies are not our volunteers, but the volunteers in a number of the agencies that we run, and we do run them, are our volunteers. And so we have to keep them connected. And it's whether it's a newsletter, whether it's regular meetings, whether it's posters, whether it's poster boards, and that is just keep talking to them and make sure that they understand their role and within the organization. And when they know that, they will become loyal. But the consideration, I always thought it's really important to talk to you about how much hard work that is. Because a number of you you've put your hand up and you talked about being responsible for volunteers in your organization. And I know you are. You know that that's not easy. It's not easy to keep them informed. It just isn't. But it is so important. The next one is understanding what you need. So if you think about Daily Bread, it's no different than it's just on a bigger scale. And there's nothing worse than having volunteers rattling around with nothing to do. It becomes a make-work project, and that's something that you don't want to do. You don't want to have a make-work project. So it's so important to forecast what you need and make sure that you do regular bookings of them, if at all possible. I mean, I know for us we have to. We just could not work that way if we didn't. But we couldn't manage them because we would have 80 people coming in the morning. Because you see, many of our volunteers are from the low-income community. And there's a good reason to come to Daily Bread and volunteer, because we'll feed you. Not only will we put you to work, and if you think about the winter, we'll feed you a nice warm meal at lunch hour. So we need to schedule them, and the only way to schedule them is to forecast the need, because I can't schedule them the day before. I need to schedule them weeks in ahead. So whatever your organization, start to think about what you need and how to forecast your need. And that's, again, a lot of work for the people who manage volunteers, but it is so necessary. The volunteer component of your organization has to be a benefit to you. All of us are doing so many important things that we can't afford to have the volunteers, running the organization to accommodate the volunteers. The volunteers have to be accommodating you. There has to be a reason that they're there, but I think this whole new group of volunteers are going to need to understand is we're not going to be able to use some of the special skills. It is so important that you clarify just exactly what your needs are, and do it by having the job description, so that when I sign up to come into the fundraising department, I understand my role is going to be entering information in the database. Or, alternately, it's going to be, if that's what I pick, I'm going to be soliciting, cold calling companies and asking for freebies so that we can sell them at silent auctions to raise money. It's not about, you're not the professional fundraiser. You're not going out to an event unless you're a special events volunteer. So I can't stress enough how important it is that you have clear position descriptions and you have buy-in, and that they are updated. And that's once again, everything I'm saying is a lot of work for the people coordinating it, but it'll make your life much calmer if you have people who've come in and signed up to volunteer for your agency and have actually picked a job description that you have created that they want to do. And don't be so sure that some people with professional skills don't want to do hard labor. I have a former board member, CEO of a company, who comes in every morning at 7 o'clock to pick orders, training. So I kept talking for managers. I kept talking about the extra work for your managers. Well, if your organization is large enough, like ours is, like Daily Bread is, I have production manager, I have a warehouse supervisor, I have an HR department, I have I have a manager in finance, and those are the people who are actually supervising the volunteers. It's not your volunteer coordinator. She, in our case, is the person who's doing the coordination of making sure that the right volunteers are placed based on the job description, based on the forecast. But the person actually doing the supervision is the manager in the department, in the function. And they need help because many of them have not had any opportunity in supervising people. And it's a really good opportunity for, we find, to get them that training, that management training, managing people for some people who are fairly junior in our organization. And it's very good on their resume later that they can, you know, if I'm the warehouse supervisor, not the manager, but the supervisor, and I manage 20 volunteers a day to pick the orders, and I've learned some skills to manage them. And that's really nice on a resume because you can say, and I would sign off for a young warehouse person now applying someplace else to be a manager. Yes, he or she has great supervisory skills. Every day he supervised 20 volunteers who came in at 7 o'clock in the morning and built skids and got them ready and made sure. So it's some career development for some of your junior people, but it's so important that you source it. And so someone who has great experience managing people may not need it, but some people may need it. So it's sourcing out the kinds of training that your staff need to manage these people. And I think the most important in terms of Daily Bread is a formalized recognition program. There has to be all kinds of informal recognition, but there has to be a formalized one. One that is structured, one that is structured with however yours. I can tell you how ours is. Our staff nominate from every department the volunteer of the year. The staff then vote on it. Each person that is nominated is formally recognized with a plaque and a small gift at the AGM. The person who actually won Volunteer of the Year gets a bigger gift and a bigger plaque, and they're printed in the annual report. And people really like to see their name printed. They really do. We also, the other thing that we do is for our low-income volunteers, if they volunteer 30 hours a week, they're part of something called a 30-plus club. And so what we do with the 30-plus club, and it has pretty well stopped it, and that is if you volunteer 30 hours in a month at Daily Bread, you register for the 30-plus club and you receive 3 bags of goodies. And some of it's food, most of it is stuff that we get in the building, brand new stuff that we give out to agencies, but it isn't like your tuna or your craft dinner or your fresh vegetables. It's laundry soap, it's toothpaste, it's shampoo, it's toothbrushes, it's body wash, and so they get the 3 bags because we have an excess of it. That's a formalized program for one sector of the low income. We also receive a number of free tickets. You know, whether it's somebody's concert, somebody's movie. When the ticket master or whoever realizes that it's not sold out, they call us and ask if we want them. And so we make them available first and foremost to volunteers, then clients, and only when clients that are in the building, and that's people who use our local food bank, and then only then when there's some left, staff. And that people are very appreciative, because there are a number of people who've never been of our volunteers, never been to a Blue Jays game, so we get Blue Jays tickets. Never been to a Leaf game, we get Leaf tickets. Never been to a concert, and so we make it available through the volunteer coordinator.